Barcelona might have just signed the next great number 9 in world football. And no, we're not talking about the future of the club. We're talking about the future of the game itself. Remember the name Hamza Abdelkarim. We're telling you right now, this kid is going to absolutely cook La Liga. He arrived from Al Ahly at the start of the season on loan, with a buy option worth around €1.5 million plus add-ons. And after what Barcelona have seen over the last few months, they didn't waste a second activating it. Abdelkarim only made his debut in March, but in just 11 appearances he smashed in 8 goals, instantly becoming one of the hottest prospects coming out of La Masia. And here's the scary bit. Despite being only 17 years old, Abdelkarim already looks far beyond his age. He has played just 8 professional matches so far, all with Al Ahly, but he's already built a serious reputation with Egypt's youth teams. At the Under-17 World Cup, he bagged 4 goals. At the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations, he scored another 4. Everywhere he goes, the goals follow. Now he's about to take the biggest step of his young career. At just 17, he's set to feature at his first World Cup with Egypt, a national team that already boasts stars like Mohamed Salah and Omar Marmoush. And if he gets minutes on that stage, don't be surprised if the whole football world starts talking about him, because this lad is special. What makes him different? First of all, he's a killer in front of goal. His leap is ridiculous, his timing is spot on, and he can finish with either foot or his head. Inside the box, his movement is pure class. He constantly bends his runs, drifts into blind spots, and attacks the space behind defenders like a seasoned veteran. Give him half a yard and it's curtains. But he's not just a poacher. His hold-up play is brilliant for someone his age. He shields the ball well, links attacks together, and keeps moves alive with clever first-time passes. Then there's the work rate. He presses aggressively, chases lost causes, and battles for every aerial duel. Exactly the sort of striker Hansi Flick loves. And speaking of Flick, the Barcelona manager has already admitted he's keeping a close eye on the youngsters' performances with the juvenile A side. In fact, there's growing belief that Abdelkarim could be included in the club's next pre-season tour. So when we say Barcelona may have found a £100 million striker for barely £1 million, we're not exaggerating. The signs are everywhere. The goals, the movement, the mentality, the physical tools. Everything points towards a player destined for the very top. Still don't believe it? Take a look at this. To understand just how special Hamza Abdelkarim really is, we need to go back a few years. Born on New Year's Day in 2008 in Cairo, the 1.82-metre striker first fell in love with football thousands of miles away from Egypt. While his father, a former volleyball player, was working at an academy in Kuala Lumpur, young Hamza was already spending every spare minute with a ball at his feet. Football was in his blood from the start.
Possible. Hamza is a normal human. I love football. It's my passion. It's what I like to do. And
in 2020, he joined Al Ahly's academy, and from that moment his rise was absolutely mental. Every age group he touched, he dominated. Then, in February 2025, at just 17 years and 1 month old, he made his senior debut for Al Ahly and became the club's youngest player of the 21st century, breaking the record previously held by Ramadan Sobhi. Not bad for a lad who was still supposed to be playing youth football. At the same time, his performances with Egypt's youth sides were making scouts all over Europe sit up and take notice. But it was at the Qatar 2025 Under-17 World Cup where people really started paying attention. The first goal was pure centre-forward instinct. Against Venezuela, Hamza drifted perfectly between the centre-backs, timed his movement to perfection, and powered home a header. It looked simple. It wasn't. Great strikers make difficult things look easy. Then came Haiti. And this is where you start to see why Barcelona were so desperate to get him. One long ball, one race in behind. Hamza exploded into space, leaving the defence scrambling. The Haitian centre-back and goalkeeper both thought they would get there first. They didn't. Abdelkarim stretched every muscle in his body, reached the ball at full speed and poked it across goal at the very last second, allowing his teammate to tap into an empty net. But Hamza wasn't leaving that match without getting on the scoresheet himself. Moments later, a defensive clearance dropped loose inside the box. Most players would have needed a touch. Hamza didn't. The ball sat up for a split second and he absolutely leathered a volley into the net. No hesitation, no fear, just pure striker's instinct. And if the World Cup put Hamza Abdelkarim on the map, the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations made it crystal clear that this kid was operating on a different level. In the opening match against South Africa, he was at it again. One perfectly timed run, one defender beaten, one goalkeeper left stranded. Hamza burst in behind the back line, got to the ball before everyone else, and nodded home another goal. It was becoming a pattern. Defenders simply couldn't live with his movement. But his best moment came against Angola. The move started near the halfway line. Hamza spotted the space and immediately attacked it. Two Angolan centre-backs tried to match his run, shoulder to shoulder, fighting him every step of the way. It didn't matter. Abdelkarim kept accelerating, kept driving forward and simply left them behind. By the time he entered the box, he had already won the battle. Then came the finish. He slotted the ball across the goalkeeper and into the far corner like a striker 10 years older. That's what makes him so dangerous. By the end of his under-17 journey, Abdelkarim had racked up 12 goals in 21 international appearances and was quickly becoming one of the most talked about young forwards in Africa. European clubs started circling. Feyenoord were among the first to seriously monitor him. But Al Ahly moved quickly and tied down their wonder kid with a new contract. Still, that only delayed the inevitable, because in February 2026, Barcelona came calling. The Catalans secured a loan deal for the Egyptian sensation and brought him to Spain to join Barça Athletic and the club's youth setup. And from that moment, everything changed. Egyptian media had already started calling him the new Salah, a massive label for any young player. But instead of shrinking under the pressure, Hamza somehow exceeded the hype. His debut couldn't have gone any better. Coming off the bench, he needed just 15 minutes to score a hat-trick of headers and help secure the league title. 3 headers, 15 minutes, absolute madness. And he hasn't slowed down since. 8 goals in just 11 matches, which is exactly why Barcelona activated the €1.5 million buy option included in his deal. Because the longer this lad keeps scoring, the more expensive he's going to become. And right now, Barcelona might be looking at the bargain of the decade. Since Deco took over Barcelona's sporting project, the club has followed a very clear strategy. Find elite young talent before everyone else does, sign them for next to nothing, develop them, and if they don't make the first team, sell them for a profit. We've already seen that formula work with Mika Faye, who arrived from NK Custodia for just €1.5 million and was sold a year later for more than €10 million. It was brilliant business. But Hamza Abdelkarim feels completely different, because this doesn't look like a player Barcelona are preparing to cash in on. This looks like a player they genuinely believe can reach the first team. And once you start watching his performances for La Masia, it's not hard to see why. It all started against Deportivo Huesca. From the moment he stepped onto the pitch, he was a nightmare for the defenders. His movement constantly pulled the backline apart, and one of his runs even forced the opposition into conceding a penalty. Then came the moment everyone was waiting for, his first goal in a Barcelona shirt. And of course it came exactly how you'd expect. A cross into the box, one quick movement. Hamza drifted behind one defender, got across another, and attacked the ball before the goalkeeper could react. Header, goal, simple. But that's what great strikers do. They make difficult things look easy. Against Tenerife, the same pattern appeared again. Hamza made a brilliant run towards goal, beat the first centre-back to the space, got across the second, and reached the ball before the goalkeeper. Once again, he found himself completely free for a header. The finish was slightly off target, but honestly, that's not the important part. The important part is the movement, though. Those are elite striker movements, the sort of runs that separate good forwards from special ones. Later in the same match, Barcelona won a set piece. Once again, Hamza attacked the exact same space. Once again, he beat the defenders. Once again, he found himself completely alone inside the 6-yard box. The goalkeeper somehow made the save, but the rebound fell kindly for a teammate to score. The goal wasn't credited to Hamza, but the chance was entirely created by him. Then came the moment that truly announced him. A cross arrived into the penalty area, and Hamza absolutely flew through the air. He outjumped his marker by what felt like a head and a half. The timing was perfect. The leap was perfect. The finish was perfect. His header flew straight into the top corner. No goalkeeper was getting anywhere near it. At that point, Barcelona supporters started realising something special was happening. The dream number 9 of La Masia might actually be real. And just a few minutes later, he nearly produced an even better goal. Watch his movement carefully. First, he drifts laterally across the defensive line. Then, the exact moment his teammate prepares the cross, he explodes into the gap. Instantly, he gains the advantage over the first centre-back and gets across the second. The movement is flawless. Everything is perfect. The only problem is that the cross is slightly too high. Honestly, this kid is an absolute beast inside the penalty area. But against Las Palmas, he showed something even more exciting. He showed that he's much more than just a goal scorer. At one point, he received the ball near midfield with a defender pressing aggressively from behind. Hamza protected possession brilliantly using his body. Then a second opponent arrived. One quick feint, then another. The defender ended up on the floor and Hamza calmly released the ball to a teammate. For a striker standing 1.82 metres tall, his technical quality is ridiculously good. A few minutes later, he dropped deep again, received with his back to goal, and immediately played a clever pass into space for a teammate making a run. Then he repeated the same action inside the penalty area, holding off defenders, waiting for support, and releasing the ball at exactly the right moment as Barcelona combined beautifully through the middle. It's the sort of link-up play coaches absolutely love, but the highlight of the match was still to come. Spotting a gap between the centre-back and full-back, Hamza immediately attacked the space. He won the front position with ease, and the pass into the box was perfect. The goalkeeper rushed out to close the angle. Most young strikers would panic. Hamza didn't. He simply lifted the ball delicately over the goalkeeper and into the net. Goal, pure class. And what happened after the goal might be even more impressive. Instead of relaxing, he continued pressing defenders. He continued chasing lost causes. He even dropped into midfield to recover possession for his team. That's exactly the mentality Hansi Flick demands from his forwards. And that's why Hamza feels different from most young strikers. He can score goals, he can create goals, he can link play, he can press, he can battle physically, he can sacrifice himself for the team. There are clips against Betis where 3 defenders try to stop him and simply can't. He fights for every loose ball, shields possession brilliantly, and always seems to find a solution under pressure. All of those performances at La Masia eventually led to something nobody thought was possible, a World Cup call-up, before making a single appearance for Barcelona's first team. Let that sink in for a second. Hamza Abdelkarim became the first player in Barcelona history to be selected for a World Cup while still playing exclusively for La Masia. No first team debut, no senior appearances for Barca, just pure talent forcing its way onto football's biggest stage. And if that doesn't tell you how special this kid is, nothing will. With the possibility of obtaining Spanish residency in the future, Egypt decided not to take any risks. Manager Hossam Hassan included Hamza Abdelkarim in the 2026 World Cup squad, despite the fact that he had never played for the senior national team and had only a handful of professional appearances. If he makes his debut, he will break Ramadan Sobhi's record and become Egypt's youngest ever player to represent the national team at a World Cup. What's even more interesting is the makeup of Egypt's attack. The squad includes Mohamed Salah, Omar Marmoush, and Trezeguet, but all 3 are natural wide players. Hamza is the only true number 9 in the squad, the only striker whose game revolves around attacking crosses, occupying centre-backs, and finishing inside the box. That makes him a very different option, and could give him a real chance to make an impact during the tournament. His aerial ability and anticipation inside the penalty area are qualities rarely seen in modern football. His hat-trick against Monte Carlo showed it perfectly. On the first goal, he physically dominated his marker and created almost a full body's worth of separation before heading home. On the second, his positioning and reactions allowed him to arrive first to the loose ball. On the third, he won a physical battle inside the area before powering home a header that looked straight out of Robert Lewandowski's playbook. These are qualities that neither Salah, Marmoush nor Trezeguet naturally possess. And that's exactly why Hamza is the type of striker Hansi Flick loves. Technically, he is not a conventional target man. He constantly moves, links play, combines with teammates, and possesses a natural goal-scoring instinct. He can finish chances, but he can also participate in the build-up and make the entire attack function better. His adaptation to Barcelona has been remarkably quick. Spanish media have already highlighted him as one of the standout talents in La Masia, and Flick has included him in the first team's pre-season plans alongside several of the club's top prospects. That's a strong indication that Barcelona see him as a future first-team player rather than someone destined to remain in the lower divisions. And if Egypt's World Cup journey ends early, don't be surprised if Hamza returns to Barcelona and earns his first team debut sooner rather than later. Because at this point, all the signs point in the same direction. Barcelona may have spent just €1.5 million on a teenager, but they could have secured the future number 9 of both La Liga and European football